What's up guys, this is Ray and welcome to Asian Filmist, and I have another review of a video game adaptation for you guys today, and that is the live action of Yakuza, or Like a Dragon, which was originally released in 2007 and is directed by Miike Takashi and starring Kitamura Kazuki. You know, I've never actually played the Yakuza games, or as they're called here in Japan, Like a Dragon or Ryuga Gotoku, but you know, I think it's been around long enough so that way pretty much everyone who knows games knows the series, and I think the little bit of exposure I have had to the characters that were in Yakuza are in the Project Cross Zone series. I think the two leads, Kiryu and Majima, were in Project Cross Zone 2, and for the most part, that's really the only kind of exposure I have of the two characters. But I have plenty of friends who absolutely love the games. I'm pretty sure any of you guys who are gamers love the games as well. So I've been well educated throughout the past many years on how awesome the game series is. But I have seen the movie a few times. Long story short, I'm not a huge fan of the movie. It has elements which I like, which we'll get into. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan. Yeah, so let's dive into it, right into it. The story of Like a Dragon, it's about this former Yakuza. Well, I think he's former. He just got out of jail. He just got out of jail. And the first thing he does once he gets out of jail is he helps this young girl by the name of Haruka trying to find her mom. And so Kiryu, he goes on this quest around Kamurocho, or as it's known in real life, Kabukicho and Shinjuku. He goes around Kamurocho, just kind of going to different bars, different clubs, just asking around, trying to find the whereabouts of her mom. And while he's doing that for this girl, what's happening around Kamurocho is that his rival Majima, he hears that Kiryu has come out of jail, so he's off with his gang trying to look for him. And what does he want to try to do? Of course, he wants to fight him and kill him. You know, typical rival stuff. And and also there's this whole fiasco going on about I think it was like 10 million yen that was stolen from one of the gangsters, and there's all these sorts of robberies and riots happening around Kamurocho. But from the looks of it, it's all one typical night in this town. So as what I understand, I believe the live action of Like a Dragon is kind of based on the very first game in this long-running series. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not totally sure, but that's what I've been informed. And so you can tell that it takes a story of a video game and really condenses it, you know, so that way it can fit a 2-hour movie format. But so let's get into that. As far as the positives are concerned with this movie, I thought the costumes were really good. I mean, from what I've seen on game covers, promotional art, I feel like the costumes were really on point, save for Majima's eye patch, which seems to be on the wrong eye. But I mean, what I like about Miike Takashi's movies, you know, despite the quality of any movies, is that he usually takes the time to craft the costumes for his characters to great detail, especially for those movies which are based off of anime, manga, or games. I feel like the costumes featured in his movie are great. They feel like just awesome cosplay. I mean, just to simply put everything. But I felt like I felt that the care and the craftsmanship for his costumes they definitely show in this live action. And also the setting. I mean, for the most part, it looks like Kamurocho because it was filmed in Kamurocho. As I mentioned earlier, it was filmed in Kabukicho. Kamurocho is kind of what they call Kabukicho in the world of Like a Dragon. And they pretty much filmed everything in Kabukicho. And if you haven't been to Kabukicho, it's the red light district of Shinjuku. You find all the clubs, the bars, the host and hostesses clubs. Yeah, pretty much anything that you've seen in the Yakuza games. I mean, from what I understand, the way the town was crafted in the games, pretty much geographically nearly geographically perfect from its real life counterparts. So I know a friend or two who, before they even came to Japan, they kind of knew their way around Kabukicho because they played the Yakuza games so much. So yeah, you know, because it was shot in actual Kabukicho, they didn't really have to do much to make it look like the town that was featured in the games. Save for shifting around some signage, but for the most part, yeah, everything is captured perfectly. I also dig the atmosphere. I mean, the movie, it's made to be some kind of dark comedy of sorts. I mean, I guess it's a typical Miike film in that matter, but it definitely also feels like a Miike film. And, despite film quality, or debatable quality in his many movies, I do like the kind of atmosphere and tone that he sets in his movies, and you can definitely see that here. I thought also the characters were entertaining. I mean, for the most part, I think they represented their game counterparts quite well. Granted, this is me going off of the way I played with them in Project Cross Zone 2. Just forgive me for that. I'm totally sorry. But I think for the most part, they portray their characters quite well. And I think for me, the most entertaining character was Majima. Majima, who is played in this movie by Kishitani Goro. I thought that he's meant to be this kind of off the rails, like chaotic neutral kind of dude, and you definitely feel that in this movie. And I think as far as all the characters featured in this movie, he was definitely the most entertaining, and he's definitely the one that I looked forward to seeing on screen the most, even more so than Kiryu at different points in the story. But I don't know, is that a normal thing in the games? Please tell me. And as far as the negatives are concerned, physically, I don't think that Kitamura Kazuki is a good fit for Kiryu. I kind of imagine this whole different kind of face, if you will. I think, okay, if you ever seen Kitamura's other movies, I think he does well as a villain. I mean, whenever he's in a movie, he's either playing a villain or a guy who comes off as a hero at first, and then he turncoats somewhere midway through. And he's a great actor for that. He has this kind of naturally snakish face, if that makes any sense. His eyebrows look like they're always pointing downwards or always in a scowl. I thought he's a great actor to play a villain. Granted, you can interpret Kiryu to be an anti-hero of sorts, but for the most part in this story, it looks like he's trying to do more good than bad, so I don't actually consider him an anti-hero. But I don't know, there's something about Kitamura's face that I just can't match well with Kiryu. I don't know. I mean, even when he plays a hero and he stays a hero in a movie, I kind of feel like, oh, watch, Kitamura's gonna turncoat. He's just gonna turn the villain. And if he does stay the hero, I genuinely get surprised. But yeah, going back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel Kitamura as Kiryu. But despite how much I feel about Kitamura's portrayal of Kiryu, I also felt there was not enough Kiryu in the story. I mean, he's supposed to be the main character. I mean, he's in all the promotional art. He's a representative character throughout all the games, either him or Majima. And there just wasn't enough screen time for Kiryu. Instead, the story delves into a ton of useless side plots. There was one side plot involving this couple who go around to different stores and robbing the cash registers. There's another side plot involving detectives and robbers trying to rob a bank, which has no money because, as I mentioned earlier, a bunch of money has gotten stolen and they're trying to look for it. And there's another side plot of this Korean assassin who comes into town to try to assassinate one of the main gang bosses. And you have all these narratives going on that they kind of intersect here and there, but they don't overall connect to the main character's story, who is Kiryu. And I feel like because of that, the whole entire story became very convoluted, and I didn't like that at all. There was also not enough drama or build-up to the final confrontation between Kiryu and Nishiki. There were a few mentions throughout the story about Kiryu and his best friend Nishiki, who you get to meet for a very brief fight scene. Albeit it was a very fun and exciting fight scene at the climax of the story. But there wasn't enough build-up, so when Nishiki comes, if you play the games, you know who Nishiki is, but if you don't, you're like, who the hell is this guy just coming in? And, he obviously has a big part in the Kiryu story, but you don't care because he just gets brought in at the very last moment, and yeah. There was also not enough build-up between Kiryu and, I guess, his former flame, Mizuki or Yumi. I forget exactly the names that this girl takes on, but you just get mentioned throughout the story. You don't actually see any flashbacks. You get build up or attempted build up through words and dialogue throughout the story, but you don't actually get to see or feel any kind of dramatic build up at all. So when it tries to come full circle, it doesn't work out. And lastly, you know, I'm gonna go into a little bit of spoiler territory because it was just kind of a ridiculous decision overall in the story. So I won't name any names just in case any of you guys who didn't know this existed, you wanted to watch it. But anyways, you get introduced to this character who has the money and blows up the money in an effort to blow up the main bad guy because you know, they knew that the main bad guy was going to come in to the tower, to Millennial Tower, if you've played the games. And the reason why they blow up the money is because they want to blow up the bad guy too. But at the same time, before that even happens, the bad guy gets off by a sniper. And you know, so by the time the money blows up, the big bad boss is already dead, and it just didn't make sense. It's like, all right, so what was the point of sacrificing yourself to blow up the bad guy when, you know, the bad guy was already dead? It made no sense at all, and it just really diluted the overall impact of the story, especially that choice that the characters made. It just made the whole dramatic build up to that, in that small moment, just really fall flat. But overall, what did I think of Yakuza Like a Dragon? You know, it's okay. It is not the worst video game adaptation, and it certainly isn't the best video game adaptation. It's no film to use in an argument that not all video game adaptations are bad, because I think generally, if you were to ask me if Like a Dragon was a good or bad adaptation, I would lean more towards bad. But that was just me, because for me as a fan, as a movie fan who has never played any of the games in their entirety or even knows much about the original story, it doesn't cater to my crowd at all. And that's because you can tell there were a lot of key plot points from the original game that were cut out just so they can squeeze everything in the 2-hour runtime. And instead of putting in more scenes to kind of compensate for those cuts, they go into all these side plots that don't make any sense, and you just don't care about any of the characters. And overall, the result of all that is that you don't care about the climax. You don't care about the final payoff. But, you know, there are some fun points, as I mentioned in my positives, and also there's that scene in the final fight when Kiryu just takes in all that energy drink and he starts powering up, and then when he throws punches, there are sparks, there are blue flames, and that was fun. You know, you can tell because of scenes like that this movie didn't take itself seriously, and you know, honestly, I don't think Miike takes many of his films seriously, but that's just me. But, you know, I think this film has more negatives than positives. So because of that, I don't know if I'd recommend this movie, especially to fans of the original games. Granted, I know fans of the games who genuinely like this movie, but I guess it's to each their own. For me personally, I didn't like it at all. For me personally, I wasn't feeling all that much. But yes, those are my thoughts on the live action of Yakuza Like a Dragon. What did you guys think? What kind of questions did you guys have? Leave me know in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And by all means, please support Asian Films on Patreon. It definitely helps the channel a lot. And hey, did you know I started up a Discord for fans of Asian films and movies? And not just that, but we talk about Western movies too. But if you hit me a comment down below, and I'll link you to the Discord, because as far as I know, it's invite only. So you got to comment if you want to be invited. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you all again in the next video. Take it easy.